Opinion here, and I noticed that I didn't make this video I wanted to make about 4 months ago about Elden Ring, and it kind of upsets me because I thought I actually made this video, but I didn't. So here I am. Elden Ring is one of the most overhyped games of 2022. Now, when it first came out, I get the hype. When you first get it, and you have this huge open world, it's massive, it's beautiful, but once you're about 40 hours, 50 hours in, you start to realize that this whole game is you just fighting monsters and learning their patterns and getting items you have no clue how to use, and then once you beat them, you're left in a spot with no direction of where to go after you beat them. Now, I don't know about you, but I have other things in my life that I have to do, including kids, including a work, including other games, so I don't really have time to sit there and learn over 100 different boss patterns that have different stages in the boss to where I could spend an hour fighting one boss, and I finally beat him, and guess what? He had a stage 2? So now I have to fight him again in a stage 2 after spending hours of fighting him once in stage 1? No, I was done after that. But I don't see how anyone thinks this is a masterpiece, or if it's the greatest game in the world. I don't even consider it game of the year. I consider it a 7 out of 10. One of my friends had the best description of this game that I've really heard. He's a busy person. He works all the time. He has bills to pay, and he said the game was fun at first. It was really cool, but the game just wastes his time all the time. It gives you no direction. It wants you to just explore every nook and cranny, fight every other boss you can, and it just simply wastes your time with no direction. And you go, well, that's the fun part. I love exploring. Yeah, exploring can be fun when it's a seamless world that explores and you go a certain direction that kind of guides you into that path of the story. Like Breath of the Wild, it can be fun, but this game doesn't do that. It just gives you a little bit of markers that point in one direction to an area you probably aren't going to be able to get to. It has no direction whatsoever. I guarantee you, if you're watching this video now and played Elden Ring, you probably didn't unlock the whole map. I did. It was one of my first goals, but it was really difficult to do, and I had to look up how to do some of the stuff online to do it because there's no direction. And I can guarantee you, 90% of the people that watch this video didn't even beat the game. Didn't even probably come close. I got to the point where I had to use a cheating device to beat some of the bosses because I got so frustrated. I was sitting there like, I'm either going to quit this game or I have to use a cheat device to beat this guy, because I can't sit here for 4 hours learning this thing's pattern just to go into this castle. It's not happening. I've already leveled up enough, already grinded enough, so I started using a cheat device on a computer. And you can't use cheat devices on consoles, so you guys are just screwed. So that got me through the game a little bit more, but once you start doing that, the game's pointless. The game's literally pointless. I made it through some other areas, and then I just realized that this game is going to be nothing but a grind. Once I got to a boss that I spent a couple hours and actually beat, and then it changed forms and I had to fight it all over again, and then I died and had to fight the first form again without any kind of checkpoint, I was done. Once I noticed this game had no path, no story to follow, and yes, okay, it does have some story that you'll never understand unless you read tons of books and look up tons of Wikipedias, but there's no path. There's no guiding. There's so much story stuff that you'll just straight up miss because it doesn't tell you it's there. I'm sorry, developers that spent hundreds of hours making this game. We aren't going to have any pathfinding to show people this game. So anyway, I'm not going to make this too long of a rant, but I do think Elden Ring was one of the most overrated games that will start off as a wonderful, beautiful journey, and you'll think it's amazing and you'll love it, but then you'll find out how hard it is. You'll find out it doesn't have any easy mode. You'll find out it has no difficulty range besides just being hard as hell. You'll find out that all you do is fight things that you don't understand. You finally beat them to go into another area with hard as hell bosses that'll beat you in the next area to unlock something you don't even know how to use, to continue a quest you don't even know you're on because the game doesn't explain it to you. I'm sorry, I'm going to end this video here. I know it's a rant, but I think that was one of the most overrated games ever, and I feel sorry for the people that bought it and never beat it. Yeah, you might have put 60 hours into it, but I guarantee you no one's ever beat that game. Okay, people's beaten it, but I guarantee people watching this didn't. Completely overhyped game, and I think it's crazy that people will defend this game. If they do, they only played over 10 hours. They definitely didn't play as long as I did.